Hello, AO. Hi, guys. My name's Joel Gandara. I'm your mentor for this session, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I operate e-commerce websites. I own several brands, and I don't know if it started right because I just saw the timer start. But just in case, I'm Joel Gandara. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm your mentor for this session. I own multiple apparel brands. We do fulfillment. We have our own fulfillment center, and I've been hustling since the fourth grade. I've been an entrepreneur since then. And I don't mean, oh, cute, good job, kid. Go try your luck at this thing. It was like, that's the only way I could buy some stuff, like sometimes snacks and definitely toys. Those didn't get bought for me. So I had to invent things to make money from a very young age. And they were real life, what seemed like life and death at the time because I had to make money. So I got to test it out in the real world from a very young age. So I've been doing that for quite a while. The questions today, as I drove home from the gym this morning, I glanced at them at a red light and they were good. These are very good questions. I love them all. And I love them all for different reasons. It shows everybody's at different levels in their business and their experiences. So you're going to notice that in here. And like I always say, even if this question doesn't pertain to you today, it obviously pertains to the person who asked it. It could pertain a little bit to some other folks. But then you might say, well, I own this other type of business. This doesn't apply. Just learn, just listen, learn, think it through, and you'll just become a more rounded person. And eventually you can help out a lot of people if you learn from everybody's experience. All right. First question is from Joseph Gallo. How much should I invest as a clothing startup in website design and marketing with a firm? I have the trademark, and now I want to work with someone who can provide guidance on my next investment, which is website and marketing. Okay, so Joseph, I always do things a little bit differently. Like, I didn't file for trademarks on my brands until I saw that they were making money. Otherwise, I've got 20 something brands. I would have filed for all these trademarks and they may not be doing so well. So that's just a different approach. If you're going all out and big, then sure, that's fine. Spend a few $1,000s, get your trademarks in place, and go from there. Just want to share, for us, we own multiple brand sites where we might offer 40 different products, and 20 something of those might be our own brands. And we've learned that we could just introduce new brands, test them, see if they do well. If they don't, we kill them. And if they do well, we'll expand on that, and then we'll go get a trademark. We also make sure before we even start selling that we're the first one with that name. So we do a Google search, we do a USPTO.gov, US Patent and Trademark Office.gov, to make sure no one else has that trademark. And then we make sure the domain is available. So we really search to make sure. If you're the first to, I'm not an attorney, but from my understanding, if you're the first to use that name in commerce, you should be protected, even if you don't have a trademark. You just have to prove that you're the first one to do it, to have that name in business and actually trading and selling services or products. The good thing about a trademark is you're announcing to the world that, look, I already have this. Don't even try. That's the beauty of it. So yeah, as far as spending on, you're asking how much should I invest? That's up to you. Do you have $1 billion in the bank? And maybe telling you to invest 10 million is okay. That's no big deal to you. Do you have 10,000 in the bank? That's a different story. So that's a different conversation. So think that through. What do you have? What's your tolerance? What's your risk tolerance? I don't want to offend marketing firms out there, but odds are, at least from my experience, marketing firms have never understood our products as well as we have. So they don't come in and all of a sudden bring us tremendous success. They always say the same thing. It's going to take a few months to learn and get to know what's happening. Well, if it's running Google ads and Facebook ads and retargeting, you could learn too. And you'd probably, if you have the time, if you're interested in doing this, you could learn something that it's not just like teaching an ad agency, right? Because a lot of the time the ad agency will learn on your dime. You're paying for this, but they're going to learn. They're going to learn for a few months how this works in your market and get an understanding of it. I'd rather you learn that, right? Because you're going to carry that on. You can hire marketing agencies in the future and have them do the work. But if you understand it and you're knowledgeable in what you're doing and how to get out there, you're not going to be putting yourself in a position of weakness in the future. You're going to be always in control of that relationship with that vendor. I do think it's important to hire people to execute on the ads and to see what's working and increase the spend on ads that are working. Pause campaigns that are not working, try them again in the future. Kill them if they're bad, right? But I would recommend that you learn that a little bit. That's actually one of the I don't have a lot of regrets in life, and it's not a major thing, but I wish I would have gotten my hands dirty a little bit on some things like that. I always said to myself, well, I'm not really a marketer, I'll just hand that over. I've learned a little bit more over the years, and I'm glad I have. I'm not the one doing it, but now I have a little bit better understanding. At least when they talk, I can understand what they're saying for the most part. As far as website design, again, how much you're going to spend, that's up to you, how much you want to spend. $4,000 could get you a very nice site. If you're on Shopify, using a nice theme, or paying for a few $100s for a nice theme and then having somebody build it out from there, that might be a little easier. One recommendation I have, not from a design perspective, from a practicality perspective, is to you probably don't want to complicate your site with too much customized things, because later things break, right? As you add all these plugins and all this complexity to your business, I try to streamline it as much as possible. So Joseph, I hope that helps. I wish you the best in what you're doing. If you ever want to talk about clothing and selling online, that's what I do. So you can reach out here on Facebook or through the group, and we'll be happy to discuss that with you. Michelle Adams is the next question asker. 3-part question. What factors do you consider when implementing a wholesale program for your products? What are good margins for buying others' products to add to your e-commerce site? And what are good margins for selling your products wholesale? I own a dessert bakery and am in the process of changing the business model from retail and catering to all e-commerce. My primary product is cake in a jar. I would like to add complementary products to add to my site as upsells. For example, candles, coffee, etc. And I'm interested in wholesaling those items from other makers. I've also been asked to wholesale our products in turn. My main goals are the growth of my e-commerce sales and brand awareness. Okay, Michelle. So, and by the way, Michelle's business is fantastic. I don't eat sugar too much, and I don't eat much dessert. I try not to, but I have purchased products from her website, and they are fantastic. I really, really love them. Okay, so trying to get my mind off that sugar. Okay, so a wholesale program. Okay, so that's what I did for 15 years. I was a wholesaler. I still am a wholesaler. We fired most of those wholesale clients because they were small boutiques and they were annoying, and they'd bother us for a $500 order and a $100 order and then want to return one piece. It was a hassle. So over the years, we went eliminating them. So now we keep clients that do tens of thousands a year, 50,000, 80,000. Those are the types of wholesale clients we keep. So we're primarily now an e-commerce company. We completely flipped. We were 100% wholesale. Then we were 95% wholesale. We started dabbling in e-commerce, and then we just kept growing that e-commerce, and now we flipped it. We're about maybe 5% wholesale now. It's not a big part of the business, but it covers what you said about gaining exposure. That's the benefit of wholesaling your product. You get it in front of people that you would have never gotten it in front of, right? And then when they buy your product from someone else, and now they have it in hand, guess what's going to happen when they see it, they like it, they're going to Google it, and they're probably going to come to you direct. That's the flip side of what the other part of the question. And it's about you selling other people's things, right? When you buy wholesale from a brand that's out there and you offer it on your site, they're going to come buy it from you maybe that first time. But the second time or third time or fourth time, they could be buying it directly. They could be buying it from somewhere else. We're in this non-vertical world now where it's very horizontal. You can pick this person or this one. You can access all players in the market. So if your stuff's out there, it's great. If you're buying from others, it's good for transaction and cash up front that you'll make, but it's not a long-term strategy, right? Because you're going to help build someone else's business, and that's fine. Build it together, but it's their name on the product, and they're the ones ultimately gaining from that. So in our business, in our apparel business, we will wholesale to people, right? But we know what's going to happen. Those clients are going to come to us. We always get new clients, and they come from searching brands. Well, how do they know about that brand? How do they know to search it? It's because someone else is offering it. They don't have the full selection. We do. They don't have full inventory. So even if they had the full selection, they're going to have holes in their inventory because then they got to prepare an order. We got to pack it. We got to ship it to them. They're never going to have it all. And we have it all. So they always end up coming to us. So here's something that happened before. One of my most fiercest competitors, he hates me personally, I'm sure. And that's how you know if you're doing something right, if your competitors hate you. And the reason I think he hates me is we've been buying up a lot of his clients, those multi-brand websites that we're buying from them, buying from us, buying from everybody. And we've been buying them and they've lost them as clients because now they just buy from us. It's our company. We put it with our brands. So something that happened is that we started buying from this competitor, and we're so geographically close that it was literally walking distance. We send one of our guys every day to pick up like a pallet worth of stuff. They would feed us their inventory. We would offer it on our sites. It's a competitor. And we were selling. And the first year we bought $500,000 at wholesale from him. So we were selling close to $1 million just on his brands. Phenomenal for cash flow. Why? Because it was almost like a drop ship model without the drop ship fee. Today we'd sell, I don't know, $500 of their stuff, $1,000, whatever it was. And we wouldn't have invested any money in it. At the 9 o'clock in the morning, our guy was a routine. Our guy would go, one of our warehouse guys would go over there, come back with a pallet of stuff. We'd sort it all out, ship it quickly. We automated that process to sort it into our other orders because some parts were theirs, some parts were our products, and ship it out. And then at the end of the month, we would send a check, $20,000, $30,000, whatever. But we paid it after we already sold it and already got the money in. Phenomenal for cash flow, phenomenal for just extra growth. The problem was we were really building up that competitor's brands because now someone came to our website and they were looking to buy some of those products from the competitor. We rather get the customer and just show them our stuff. So we only buy other competitors' brands when we see a reason for it, and there's tricks that we do behind it. Nothing here is illegal. Obviously, I wouldn't do anything like that. But so let's say that I sell this brand over here. It's a no name, but I buy Calvin Klein and I offer Calvin Klein. I buy it wholesale and I put it on my website. And I see that, Michelle, you keep buying Calvin Klein. Well, guess what you're going to start getting from us? Direct emails that say, Michelle, we have a product that we think matches with your interest, and it's this one. And it's very similar to the Calvin Klein that you've been buying because we'll create brands to match what we think the market wants at a better price, better quality, always in stock. And that way we'll offer you that one, and we try to convert you. And we track that. We know if you're converting customers or not. So there's that. And also, when you're on the website and you're looking at this Calvin Klein in black with this certain style, well, guess what's going to be down here on the site? You may also like our brand that we've mapped to Calvin Klein in black and in a very similar, if not the exact same style, at a better price. So we try to convert people from competitors' products to our products. In your case, you're talking about complementary items. They're not necessarily competitors, but they could be. They could one day start selling your things. The other thing that I like about this is a great question, and it's multi-parted. The other thing that I like is that it opens your experience into other things, because this is what you do today. You sell great cake in jars and all these other products, but you never know. What if 5 years from now you're a coffee company, right? I mean, right now you started selling Pike's Coffee, Starbucks, whatever, and it started exploding, or you started selling no names and it did really, really well. Well, guess what? You're probably going to start thinking, if you're a really effective entrepreneur, you're probably going to say, well, let me see what it would cost to get my own coffee bagged and packaged. And then that starts growing. And coffee is one of it's the most consumed drug in the world. It's very addictive, and it's a great business, and it runs out and they keep reordering, right? Cake, you don't have to have cake every day, but everybody has coffee every day, or a lot of people do. So you never know what you might get into. And if you approach it from that perspective, that you want to try different things to give your customers what they want, but also to ideally see what the next big idea is. I heard somebody say recently that Under Armour, the athletic company that makes those compression shirts for athletes and stuff, they wear it on under football uniforms and stuff, that their CEO, I didn't hear him say this, but somebody told me that he said, we don't know what business we're going to be in. That's amazing. This is a massive, probably worth $1 billion, I'm guessing, and they don't know what business they're going to be in. That's how open-minded they are about it. So, okay, and lastly, Michelle, I know I've really dragged this one out, but it's so much stuff in here about pricing and margins. You get the best price you can. You get the biggest margin you can. You're quickly, and do the math, you're quickly going to find out if it's worth it or not. So, I could sell this thing for $10 and they're offering it to me at wholesale $5, but then I got to ship it here, then I got to pack it, then I got to ship it again. Is there any money in that? So do the math. It's not about top line growth, it's about bottom line profitability. Next question comes from Yolindi Gouveia. And Yolindi Gouveia, best way to raise capital during the early stages of your business? That's the question. So what are the best ways to raise capital during the early stages of your business? Here's the description. We produce and sell decorative pillow covers. We want to expand by manufacturing pillow inserts. We resell inserts at the moment, and it's about 50% of our income monthly. Making these ourselves will drive our cost down to 1/3 of our current cost and save us on shipping. This will give us a very competitive advantage on our Amazon and Walmart marketplaces. Purchasing the equipment and raw stock will be around $90,000 with a retail value of over $700,000 or a potential. So it will leave a lot of room for us to offer wholesale pricing. We will be the only manufacturer in the Valley, which is a huge market advantage. Who do I approach? Venture capital, angel investor, private investor. I have my business plan, projections, last 2 years financials, business assets all ready to go. So I think venture capital is a little too much, too big. Even angel might be. A private investor, I mean, this sounds to me more like a round of friends and family. You're talking about $90,000. You're not talking about $1 million. You're not talking about massive amounts of money. Friends and family. If you just reached out to your network, if you did a crowdsourcing type thing, you might find, so I've never done crowdsourcing, but I've seen people do it effectively. Maybe that could work. I'd be happy to talk to you offline about that and get into more details on it. But your thought process is great. You're seeing an opportunity to raise your margins, to control the market a little bit. So if I understand it, Yolindi, you are buying these inserts from somebody, getting them shipped as a finished product with added value, higher costs, and then you're using them for your products and then reselling, right? If I understood that, I'm trying to read through all the notes here. Yeah, we resell the inserts at the moment. It's about 50% of our income. So my questions would be, okay, how much volume, how much are you doing on that insert business? Are you selling 5,000 a month in inserts? What's the profit on that, right? And then what would it cost all in, because you haven't been making these yourself, so you don't know all the costs yet. What would it cost all in to make that? And then we look at the math. So if you're selling 5,000 a month, and let's say that nets you 1,000 just on the inserts. But now you're talking about, well, we're going to become so much more profitable that even if we just did 5,000, that's going to turn into 2,000 net profit a month just off that operation. Okay, well, now that extra 1,000 a month over X amount of months will pay for all of this. In this case, $90,000, right, for everything that you need. But if you can also wholesale it and you're getting good margins on that wholesale, there's a good business there. I think you can convince people. You have to make sure that it's got to be impressive. You can't be talking about, well, we do 500 a month in this and we think it might be 1,000. Numbers aren't big enough, but to attract investors. That's why I said venture capital, you're thinking really big. Hopefully one day, yes. But even angel investors, they're looking for a little bit more. Friends and family, get the word out there. You can put the financials out there, what it looks like, what you're looking to raise, maybe make a pitch deck, like a Google Slides, and prepare that, where you're at right now, what the problem is in the business, what the opportunity is, what you're presenting to do, and what you're looking for. That's it. I'd be happy to look at that and see what you've got going on. Next question, Abraham Marcos. How do I come up with my SOPs? I think that's standard operating procedures. I don't have any, besides in our head, as to how we all do things, and would really like to make things easier for all of us. I feel this would give us the clarity and keep growing and teach how we do things as a team. I have an air conditioning and heating service business in the Los Angeles, Hollywood, San Fernando Valley areas. Thank you in advance. I used to live in the San Fernando Valley in Granada Hills, Abraham. Okay, I met Abraham at AO Live last year. Great guy. So standard operating procedures. I used to have that same concern, and I hired a young lady who used to be my kid's babysitter. She graduated with her degree in business, and so at that point I hired her right away. I was her first employer. Other than as a babysitting boss, I was her boss in our warehouse, in our business. And I had her come in and learn all the processes and write them all out. And then we created books. But that was for us a kind of an old way of doing it. It was years ago. It was 10 plus years ago. But not too many people in real life are going to open your book and wait, how do we do this and read that? I mean, if I have a problem in my house with something, I'm not Googling to see the manual on how to reset my thermostat, for example, just to keep it in your line of work here. I go to YouTube and I watch a video, and that video talks me through every step and shows me on screen. So what we've done in our fulfillment center is videos, and we have a private link on YouTube and we share it. We also have a Google Doc that will put some words, we'll type up, this is how you do this, this, and this. So it's all searchable terms. In a Google Doc, you just do Control F, reset thermostat, right? And so you saw it, reset thermostat, but right under it is a link to a private YouTube video. And in that private YouTube video, someone is holding a phone, zero production value, zero cost. It's just someone holding a phone, recording an employee saying, all right, guys, today I'm going to show you how to reset the thermostat in our warehouse. And here's what you're going to want to do. Bah, 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 bah. That's a lot better than an actual book that nobody's ever going to read, and you got to look through it. That's a hassle. So one Google Doc, drop everything in there, make videos that are easy to watch, zero expense. Don't spend money on this. I don't think it's necessary. The other thing is, in the day-to-day process, if you systematize and have proper steps in the worker's day and their flow, then they don't need to refer to things too often. For example, if your guys are on the road and they're having to fill out a piece of paper, if that's how you start, that's fine. That paper should, in a sequence, ask them to fill out certain things. Put the customer's name, put the customer's address, verify their phone number, all that stuff, let's just say as an example. And then, whatever has to be filled out next. You're not going to leave things out of there because you need them to do the whole flow. The problem with paper, they can skip a thing, they can do it wrong. If it's on a tablet and you're using there's a ton of software. I helped a client locate software and implement it in their business to do just that because they had 30 techs out on the road. If you do a software right, then the process and procedure is going to be built into the flow for that worker. So that worker needs to check in. That worker needs to, notate when he's at the property. Take a picture of something through the tablet. The workflow should be there. So your standard operating procedures are not people referring back to a book or videos. It's people following a system that's been created in the software. You don't have to go create the software. There's a bunch of them already for techs on the road. So I hope that brings you some value. Next question is from Keenan Galambos. When sourcing with different vendors as we developed our product, what should I look for when choosing vendors? This week, we're getting a sourced list of manufacturers that can make our product for us with details like cost and shipping included to have it made and sold. When browsing the list and selecting a manufacturer, what are some key points to keep in mind to help make the best decision? Should I be focused on just price, or should I be looking at other things as far as shipping and delivery times, reputation, reviews, or anything else? Just trying to make sure I make the right decision when choosing a vendor. Thanks so much for your help. Here's a little bit more about the company, Keenan's company. We are creating and eventually selling products for PC gamers to be more comfortable and perform better while gaming. Gamers focus on their hardware performance. We want to help focus on their personal performance and comfort. Okay, so depending on how complex your product is, that really determines it. Because is there any way, Keenan, of testing these vendors, or is this a one shot? You're going to have to go produce 10,000 of these units and that's it. I personally, just in general with vendors, I prefer to test them out and start small. Even if the value, if the discount isn't as much, I'm paying a little more, just to test them out and see how things go. Because otherwise, you might be in real deep. I coach a a very successful person who was successful in a software company and then wanted to launch an apparel business. And this happened before I started coaching them. They brought me in because of the problems, but they went all out in production and spent $800,000 in apparel and placed orders that they're sitting on a lot of that inventory still. I don't think, so those are the reasons. Those weren't even good factories. There were high prices. They didn't have much guidance, and they just went ahead and did it thinking, well, I've succeeded all my life in this. I'll probably succeed in everything I do. Try not to think that way. So is there any way you can go slow, get samples, make sure that if this is overseas, which I'm guessing it is, you can always hire an agent on the ground in that country who's independent, who doesn't know that factory, has nothing to do with them, gets paid by you to go in and see along the manufacturing process if they're hitting benchmarks. If the quality is this, if they're finishing them on time at the day of preparing everything. That agent of yours goes on the ground in the factory and verifies everything that's in the boxes. They seal it. They see that it gets sent to the transporter. So there's a lot of things you can do out there to protect yourself. But your question about should I only focus on price? Absolutely not. Price is extremely important, but you can work on getting better prices always as your volume grows. If the business never does much, it didn't matter if you got a good price or not. If this business explodes and you start doing really, really well, then you can start getting more discounts as your production grows. So I wouldn't focus solely on price at all, because unless you're trying to sell once, get horrible reviews and never sell again. Like a lot of the stuff that you can buy on Amazon or AliExpress or Alibaba, if it's cheaply made and you paid $5 for it, you get what you paid for. I would look, if you're trying to build something, make sure there's quality, that they're dependable. You could talk to people that they manufacture for, ask them for, first of all, here's my approach. I don't care if it's a pool designer for your swimming pool, if it's one of these factories, I would ask them, okay, so how many clients do you have that, like me, that you've done this for? And then they'll brag. So you're opening up the conversation on purpose this way. So they will brag and say, oh, for example, yeah, I've designed pools in this area for 50 people. Great. Can I get 3 of them, their name and number? I want to verify that. And, and get their opinions. Now, but you got them. Because otherwise you don't say, I like to say, and they're all far away. No, you're asking them ahead of time the information you want. Do you have any locally? Have you done a lot here in this area? How many? And then they'll tell you, and then you're asking them. So same thing here with the factory. They may try to BS you, and they may not know what they're doing. So get samples, approve samples. Don't just blindly send money. If they're committed in this in the long run, they are willing to work with you. They'll make you some samples, maybe at a cost, but go from there. But be careful, go slow. This is like hiring, slow to hire. All right. Next question is Gabor. I think it's pronounced Rash, R-A-C-Z. All right. Question is, how can I determine if it's worth selling other people's products to my audience as opposed to selling my own products exclusively? Our company, Rubicon, is Hungary's fastest growing magazine and the #1 source of history for Hungarians. We are a well-known and trusted brand nationwide, and we've grown a large Shopify store, currently selling our subscriptions, past issues of our magazines, and online courses. The idea has crossed my mind that we could become a national retailer of history books by adding historical titles of other publishers to our online store. The company we've partnered with to handle our shipping could easily handle the added inventory and shipping. We would not need to pay for inventory of these books either. The norm in Hungary is to pay monthly or quarterly based on the sales you made to the publisher. The industry standard commission for book sales is 50%, so that's what we'd make on each sale. This could be a great way to sell more to our existing audience, but at the same time, I worry we'd be cannibalizing sales of our magazine, where we keep 100% of the revenue. Since these books fulfill the same consumer desire, deeper understanding of Hungarian history, how would you decide whether or not to expand in this direction? Well, Gabor, that's interesting, because at first I didn't realize what you said at the end there, and I was thinking, yeah, just add it, because you've got no investment in it, right? You don't pay it until you sell it, and you keep half of it, and maybe they're coming for different reasons, but you're talking about precisely the exact same. These are competing books, right? You're offering a solution for these things, and this could take your revenue. It could cannibalize it. Could you test it. How complicated is it to set this up? I'm assuming since you don't have to even, well, I mean, you do have to take in the inventory to your fulfillment center. Could you test this with a smaller portion of it and not go crazy bringing in too much inventory and see what happens? A lot of these questions were answered above similarly to Michelle's question, but test small. See if, don't bring in this massive offering that'll just flood your website and kill your product. Maybe just bring in what you think maybe might be a match in that you're missing this portion of it, or this brings some unique element to it, right? And also in books, I know from my understanding, at least here in the US, if a book is old enough, there's no rights to it, right? Anybody can go and print it. Like I think that I can go print the Iliad or the Odyssey or any really old book. You can print them. Nobody owns that. It's common rights. So I don't know if that's the case here. If so, do you have the right to print any of these books on your own and bypass the printer and whoever is currently doing them? If so, that might be something to look at. If you're stuck and they're kind of modern and you have to use them, then maybe give it a shot. But be careful, because I think you realize the number one danger here. It's cannibalizing, where you're making 100% profit compared to selling something that only makes you 50%, right? And I don't know that the market is large enough for you to say, well, if I offer this 50% thing, it'll sell 5 times more. So half of 5 times more is still 2.5 times more than what you're currently doing. But that requires a bigger market. All right, guys, I hope that's all of them. I think I answered everything. I hope that helps. I hope it brought some light to somebody. And I'll share something that I've been thinking about the last few days, and I shared with somebody on a coaching call yesterday. A few years back, or many years, all my life, all I worried about when I was younger was hustling and making money. And that was my number one. I just wanted to make money. It's all I thought about. I remember as a kid, I'd have little pieces of paper all over my bedroom, and I'd calculate, okay, today I sold this many chocolate bars, and that made me $17 in profit. And if I keep that up, what would happen if I did that 360 days a year? And it'd always be about money. And at a certain point, somewhere in my life, I think late 30s, early 40s, it kind of started switching. And it's not about money. I don't even worry about money anymore. I worry about time. It's all that matters to me right now is my time. It's my most valuable resource that I own, and you do not get that back. You can multiply your money. I think I can double my net worth in the next 7 years or so, but I'm not doubling my time. It's all I got. It's all you got. So I hope you respect that and you use it kind of honorably. It's all you got. It's just one shot. So what I say about that, and I get it, everybody's different. I'll tell you about me. I'm not criticizing anybody. I don't sit around and watch much TV. If I do, it's usually like a documentary or a motivational thing while I work out, or some informative thing, or books on tape, audio, audible. I try to choose my time very wisely. I spend it with the right people. There's no negative people in my life that I don't want in my life. It's the people who need to be in my life for a reason. And same thing with anything I ingest, whether that's information, books, data, everything, all the noise out in the world. So just want to share that with you. You may not realize it at the stage that you're at in your business today, but your time is very, very valuable. And that's one thing that you will regret if you waste it. You can waste money and make more later, but this is a big one. All right, guys, I hope that helped. Again, I'm Joel Gandara, and reach out here on Facebook, Instagram. Hopefully we can connect, and I'll see you here in AO. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.